Well, okay, beautiful people. Trying to get out on the road for just a minute. It has been busy. I haven't ridden in a couple weeks. This is the Ramblings of Larry. Well, my gauges are fogged up. We've had some high humidity the last couple days here. Probably the wrong time just to go for a spin around the block. Okay. Alright, I'm not sure this camera doesn't look like it's pointed in the right direction either. I guess we'll find out here in a minute. I wonder what that beep noise was. Alright, 25 miles an hour down here, so let's keep it slow. There we go. Okay. I don't know, it's beeping. I know it's fully charged. I charged up the camera. It's beeping on me. I deleted the files, so that should be okay. I'm running a GoPro. Right there, here's suggested. I'm running a GoPro, not a GoPro, excuse me. I'm running a Signia Prism 2. You want to get the motovlogging, that's the thing there. Okay, it is, let me get the date here. It's October 30th at 5 p.m. The weather has finally, again, turned nice. That's not always the case in South Georgia. So, we have a week of fall, and we'll have 2 or 3 weeks of summer. January, February time frame, we'll have a week of winter, and then we'll be back to summer again, spring and summer. Pretty good riding weather. Okay, here we go. Alright, so oh man, it feels good to be on the bike. It's been a while. Had some issues with it, with the brakes, front brakes, and I need an oil change. Some people ask how COVID is affecting you. Well, money is tight. I'm currently right there, the pastor of that church. But we've had to take pay cuts and everything else just because everybody else had to take pay cuts. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm also retired Air Force, so that helps out a little bit. But so I've been doing some wrenching my own on the bike, and plus we have been super busy trying to open up the church again. Alright, we're just going to go a quick ride around the block real quick. I'm not sure if I got time for a funny story. One thing I enjoy about the motovlogging is I enjoy the motovloggers. You know, you got a personal story. You're headed somewhere and you're telling something funny about yourself or something going on. I'm not really into the political, at least not on the motorcycle. I'm not into the political side of life, or you know, I'm trying to keep that out. Come to my office, we can have a good discussion about politics. But so, on this is I got a funny story for you, and I'm going to highlight there Mike Ailey 7 because he's an educator. I don't know if we have any other educators out there, school, especially college teachers. I know Mike Ailey 7 works at, I think, a technical college or a community college. And so he's going to understand this story. A real quick shout out, real quick. Easy Rider Greg, I think he changed his name. Easy Rider Greg is on the road, or back riding again. That's great to see. Robin and Biker Lady Biker Robin, I think it is on her way to Houston. I think she's in Texas by now. Probably on her way back, really. You had the Stubborn American, Motorcycle Mama, the Black Top Devils, Mr. and Mrs. went there. It's all good to see, good to hear. Saddle Tramp. Well, let our put our prayers and stuff out for Saddle Tramp. Great guy, great videos. Hurricane Zeta come through his area, and the neighbor's oak tree fell on it. So look up Saddle Tramp and give him a shout out. Let him know that you're either thinking about him, praying about him, or something. He had 3 bikes in the shed in his garage, Saddle Tramp's garage. Does some great wrenching on his bikes. I wish he was closer because I could use some help sometimes. But be thinking about him. All right, here goes a good Air Force story. And I was trying to debate where to start off. Where I'm at today is kind of a comical way I got there. And let me just bring this up. Where I'm at today, I'm the senior pastor of a church, medium-sized church, retired Air Force, hydraulic, flight control mechanic. I was an instructor in the Air Force. I taught hydraulics and flight controls, and worked with the F-35, the B-2, the F-117, when they were all classified. The F-22, there we go. I was at NASA. NASA had an F-22. Occasionally, some of you guys out in California, I'll talk about my NASA days. I mean, I was Air Force, but NASA has a whole bunch of airplanes. They're always doing these different weird wind tests and stuff with airplanes. So I worked with them for a short time, primarily on the F-15, but we went over to a couple other airframes too. So, but other than that, that's all good and done. Okay. Somewhere, back to the Air Force story. Focus, Larry, focus. Bodine 52 and me have this problem. Focus. I don't have a whole lot of time for a big story. I'm in the Air Force. I'm a flight line mechanic. I'm a master technician, all systems qualified. I got it all down. All systems qualified on the F-15, traveled a lot with it, did a lot of stuff with the hydraulics and flight controls and landing gear. I come up with this new way, not a new way, but a cheaper way to rebuild land gear. We were in the desert. I wasn't, but the jets were, and the sand was eating them up. Long story short is I developed this TO procedure to rebuild landing gear, saved the Air Force a bunch of money. I got like a $5,000 suggestion money award for it, blah, 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 blah. Well, some chief comes up and wants to put me in a teaching position. He says, you're a great mechanic, you're a great teacher, great mentor. You need to be doing more than 5 or 6 people in your unit. You need to be doing the whole Air Force. And I resisted it. Now, I got an assignment. I'm in Alaska. I've been stationed in Anchorage, Alaska, Elmendorf. I get an assignment to Eglin. Most people would jump with joy with assignment to Eglin. I did not want to be where it was hot, muggy, and buggy. I'm in South Georgia now, by the way. God's getting even with me. So I turned down that assignment. I don't really turn it down. I go see the chief and say, man, I really don't want to go there not because of anything other than the location. He says, I'll do you a deal. If you'll take this lead hydraulic job at a new base or a new base getting new airplanes, a Mountain Home Air Force base, it's going to be a composite wing, and that's a whole different story by itself. You'll be the lead hydraulic flight control landing gear instructor for the Air Force. Okay, I took that job, went to teaching school, go on. Well, in this process, this is where Mike Ailey 7 will understand, the Air Force has their own college called the Community College of the Air Force. and they're governed by SACs, the people that govern all the colleges. Well, SACs did an inspection, and a lot of the instructors, myself included, did not have any kind of degree. And the SAC's rule is you got to have a degree equal to what you're giving out, or higher. And so I didn't have a degree. They told me I had to go to school. That's just a whole process. At the time I was single, went to school, got a degree in aircraft maintenance out of all, an associate degree in aircraft maintenance. Got another associate degree in teaching. Got my practicum, got over 10,000 hours in the Air Force. They track your teaching time. Well, all that good stuff. And so I'm doing well with all that. And I go to this guard, what we call Air National Guard conversion down in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm about done with my teaching career. I've got about a year and a half left, and I'm down there for about 6 months. Well, it's where I met my wife. She was in the Florida Air National Guard. And so, long story short, after about a couple of years, almost 2 years of me driving back, not driving, but flying back and forth and long distance dating, and we decided to get married. Well, she gets out of the Guard, she comes to Idaho where I'm at. Now, I love Idaho. High Plains Desert, Robin, cruising along, Arizona and stuff, that's the way it is. It's brown and it's got its own beauty to it. You just have to be there. It has its own beauty to it. My wife was more of a city girl, at least at the time. She hated it. Well, Desert Storm 1, 2 have gone on, and we're still, of course, a great presence in Saudi Arabia and Iraq and all that good stuff. Well, I have not served in a combat. I got promoted up to Master Sergeant fairly quick. Not served, senior NCO, had not served in combat or in a combat area. Air Force, unless you're a pararescue or something, you don't serve in combat. I'm going to go left right here, and I'm going to loop back around. So, and that deal is, my wife happens to be pregnant with, she had 2 children from a previous marriage. What the heck was that truck doing? I think that truck hit something. There we go. All right. But we are having a kid together, little Hannah, the only child I actually have, even though I've adopted one of the other ones. But so, that's a focus there. Focus. We're going to left here. I'm trying to just keep the ride short. We got an event at the church tonight. And I think all I do is work at the church at night, or during the day and night anymore. Okay. Everybody turning. I'm going to go this way. 94. Okay. Alright. So, my wife's not happy. Because they're going to say she can stay in Idaho. She's like, oh hell, I ain't staying in Idaho without you. So we were a detachment. My headquarters was in Wichita Falls, Shepherd Air Force Base, Texas, and I'm in a detachment outside. So my commander and everybody's in Texas, and so we're out there. We got a guy in charge. And so I asked the chief and commander come out for something. They come out and tour around for every now and then. The chief come out, and I knew the chief really well. And I said, hey, chief, I'm probably looking at a divorce. You know, I've just been married for about a year now, a year and a half. Wife's pregnant. I'm probably going to get divorced if I take that Saudi Arabia job. And I was going to be in Saudi Arabia for a year because I'd never been there. And so he sits there and says, ask this question. This is the moral of the story. He says, we are in trouble. Field training, the unit I was with, field training, we're in trouble. We are in trouble by SACs, the people that govern the colleges, and the two chief registrars we put in have done a horrible job. He says that we got 6 months to fix this, 6 or 8 months to fix this. Can you get in there? What do you know about that? Can you fix it? Uh-oh. Hold on. Oh, I got a call from a child. I'm gonna get home real quick. I think something's wrong with the dog. My daughter just got home and doesn't seem to think he's doing well, so let me get back home real quick. Well, it's going to take me a minute to get there. Let me finish up my story. So I tell the chief, yeah, I can fix that problem. And so later on in life, my wife calls me the educated idiot. Now in life, but not then, but now in life, I got 3 bachelor's degrees, a master's degree, toying with a PhD, and I can't spell crap. I can spell crap, C-R-A-P. That's about all I can spell. So there I am. I take this job. It's a special duty assignment, and I take this job. And let me see where I'm at. Right here's where I'm going to turn. Yeah. Alright, I might have to edit that part out there, making a quick turn there. So, alright, I take this job, and they even moved me early from Mountain Home Air Force Base down there. So here's day 1. Now let me be honest with you. I ain't got a clue what a registrar does. This is the part 20 from Mike Haley 7. I ain't got a clue what a registrar does. But so there I am. Day 1, I'm there processing. Day 1, they give me a piece of paper to go down to this the shop where they make signs, emergency requisition order. They're going to have a sign on my door. I get a little office. My first time ever working in an office, too, by the way. Chief Registrar, Master Sergeant Larry W. Hauser. W stands for wonderful, by the way. So here I am. I'm there. I got this. I go down. I have to fill this paper out. And do you know there is a difference between registrar and register? I went in there, put chief register, and the guy cut me this little, it's like a brown, black top, and it's got white underneath it, and they carve it. Your name comes in. And I go, and I'm all proud, man. I slide that thing into my little holder, and I'm just setting up my desk, and the chief comes down, Chief Fulligar. What the F is this? He starts cussing me out. He says, you spelled registrar wrong. You put register like, and I looked at that thing. Holy crap, I didn't know that. He says, take that off the wall, go get it fixed. Well, you can only get like one emergency thing done. You can work with a bunch of retired civilians or retired military civilians. I went back down to the office and said, hey buddy, I messed this up. It's about 4 o'clock on a Friday. I messed this up, and I really need it fixed before Monday. I mean, it's only going to take them 10 minutes to do. I says, what's it going to cost me to get it fixed? He said 4 cases of Bud Light, 2 cold in a cooler, 2 cases cold in a cooler, 2 cases more, just off the shelf. I hauled tail to the package store on base, bought 4 cases of beer, but bought a cooler, put an ice in there, put them all in there. Went back, got the new sign, and I slid it into the door. The chief comes down and says, very good. I said, man, I'm sorry I didn't check that better. And he says, well, how did you get it fixed so quick? I said, I went and chewed that guy's ass out. And told him, don't you know how to flip and follow directions and spell correctly? And I said, I guess he felt bad enough that he fixed it for me. And so let me add on to that. So I got it fixed. That was good. I cannot spell that. I took a job in the Air Force to save my marriage that I didn't even know how to spell it correctly, let alone know what they do. So I'm looking at all these write-ups and reports, and I'm a maintenance guy. I'm not a guy that sits on the file stuff, paperwork. And so I went to oh shoot, I called the ladies who named, it was a doctor or somebody, I remember Marcia was her first name. I can't remember her last name now, but PhD lady. She was in a school in Mississippi as the chief registrar, and I guess there's not actually an office for SACs. I called her up and explained my situation and asked if I can come out there, if she could work with her for a short time. And because we're governed more under the registrar was governed under the civilian side more than it was the military side. And so I talked her into letting me come. She was a widow woman, an elderly, I'd say elderly, probably in her 70s. She let me actually stay at her house because we worked this thing. I remember day one, she looked at me and says, I cannot believe the Air Force has hired you to be the chief registrar. I don't even know how to spell. I didn't tell her I didn't know how to spell the job. I didn't have a clue what the job did. And so, but I was there for 2 weeks. She trains me, everything I need to know. I got a checklist. I go back. Now here's since I got time to finish this story. In 6 months, the SACS is coming for an inspection to see whether we're going to be credited or not, or lose our accreditation. They come back, 0 write-ups. 0 write-ups. They were just shocked. And for the next 4 years I'm at that job, we were the best registrar in the country, including the civilian side. I started going to different schools, Air Force schools and civilian schools to teach, to show them how to set up their office correctly. So in that process, 4 years later, I'm sent out here because there's a trouble with a training detachment that's in trouble here with the Air Force. So I get sent here, Moody Air Force Base, South Georgia, about Austin, Texas. I'm teaching, out of all things, computers at Valtech, or Austin Technical College. They are not accredited by SACs. They want to be. They call SACs up. I happen to be there teaching this class, dropping off some paperwork in the registrar's office about the class. And they looked at me and said, this is the man you want. They didn't know I was there. This is the man you want. But long story short, I made a deal with the dean. I would help them get accredited for $5,000 cash. They were basically doing what they needed to be doing. It wasn't like we had to create a whole thing. Later on, I found out if you would have called the SACS people up, it would have been $30,000. So I way undersold myself. It didn't take me but about a week or two to get them up to speed, get the SACS people to inspect them. And they did flying colors. I worked for that registrar's office for about 4 years, I think, there, and taught out there. So there's my story. I'll give another story. I'm going to start back about education. I am not your education kind of guy. I like it, but I'd rather be doing something than learn it. Okay. So with that in mind, I'm about home. I got to deal with this dog. I'll sign off. So everybody, great talking to you. Boy, it feels good to be riding a bike again. So you all take care. Saddle Tramp, it'll be okay. It will be okay. Robin, you'll be all right. Motorcycle Mama. Mike Haley 7, you've been kind of a little scarce on videos. I've got a couple, and I'm just behind and watching. So, but this one's for you, Mike Haley 7. It's about school and Registrar. Watch who you hire. So, all right, everybody. Talk to you later. God bless.